Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm really excited to bring you this video. Today, I'm gonna go over my top 10 best kayaks ever made. Now, this is going to be the paddle version, so all of these kayaks are going to be paddle only. There's no pedal drives, no motors, anything like that. We'll get to that in a future video, but for today, I wanted to get back to the roots, back to what got most of us out on the water, and that's with a paddle in our hands and a boat under our rear ends. Hear me out through the video. This is going to be my personal. I'll go over the reasoning behind each pick. I'll also go over some honorable mentions, maybe some things that I left out and why. But when you're done with watching the video, if you would, do me a big favor. Let me know down in the comments, maybe something that you would have added or would be on your top 10 list, or just put your whole top 10 list down below. I'd love to look at what you guys are into or ladies are into in your specific bodies of water. But for us here, we're a little bit of lake, a lot of skinny water and river kayaking. But anyways, guys, I'll get right into it. Thanks for coming by. Coming in at number 10, and this is one of my favorites when it was out. They don't make it anymore, but it is the Dagger Roam series. So they made this kayak in a 11.5 version and a 9.5 version. The 9.5 was really good for skinny water, rivers, creeks. 11.5 was really good, obviously, for your open water, and would also handle rivers as well. But it was kind of a very whitewater design and also giving you a really comfortable seat, which was kind of unheard of around that time. Really nice cushioning. You had thigh straps on the side to kind of give you a little bit more control, and really good for that nice recreational float. It was a really simple design too, which I feel like the industry may have gotten away from a little bit now in today's market, but back then this was a really popular kayak, and then it's kind of been taken over by the Liquid Logic Coupe, the Coupe XP. So with these kayaks, you get the drop-down skeg, you get the wheel in the back to transport. They still make the Coupe XP, but they no longer make the Roam, unfortunately. But this was probably one of my favorite just paddling, leisurely float kayaks. Number 9, so this is still one of my favorite kayaks today, and it is the Native Slayer XC model. So this came out in 2018. It was a really nice, robust paddle kayak, high weight capacity of around 500 pounds, frame seat that went high and low. It was laid out really nicely. There were so many features on this kayak that I will just list them up here on the corner for you to look through while I'm talking about it. But this was a great kayak that I thought really kind of birthed a lot of the modern kayaks in today's market. The XC was phenomenal. You still had the micro power pole mount and the motor mount in the back. You had open deck, you had deck padding, you had tackle storage under the seat, rod tip protectors for horizontal storage, the whole nine, and a large tank well as well. And you also had the hatch storage, which a lot of people liked around that time. People have kind of gotten away from the hatch storage into the open deck space on top storage, which is my personal preference, but I really like the XC because there was a lot of features, and I felt like that kayak specifically was really kind of ahead of its time for those of you that may not have wanted a propel drive, a pedal drive, or anything complicated, but you wanted a really capable sit on top kayak with a really comfortable seat. The XC definitely had that. Number 8 is the Wilderness Systems Commander. So many of you probably know about the Commander. It was really kind of one of the first hybrid kayak designs, and I just did a video here recently on hybrid kayak, namely the Native Ultimate FX series. You got the Oldtown Next, but the Wilderness Commander was, like a lot of things on this list, ahead of its time. Very good weight capacity to it. You had a lot of customization on there. You had a lot of gear track, a lot of mounting options, a really nice seat, and just, again, a really nice kayak for getting into those marshes, getting into those tight spaces, and something that really I think a lot of people are going back to is a little bit more of a lighter throw and go kayak. At 64 pounds, it's not a lightweight kayak by any means, but at that time when it originally came out, it was kind of seen as a heavy, clunky kayak, and by today's standards, I really feel like it would do a lot better. Number 7, and this is one of my personal owned kayaks, the Jackson Tripper / Killroy series. So with the Tripper and Killroy, the reason those are grouped together is they're the same exact hull design. The Tripper is a little bit more the wreck-friendly kayak, and the Killroy is the fishing. So you got a lot more fishing features, gear track, a little console. They both have that frame seat, which is really, really nice, adjustable foot pegs. And again, they're that very much like the Wilderness Commander, they're that hybrid kayak design. So this is going to get you into some skinny moving water. It's going to get you out on the lake. And it's kind of, again, a lot like the Dagger Roam. You get that all-water kayak that it's going to handle a lot of different things. It's not a 100-pound kayak where you're going to have to trailer it. You can throw it in the back of a truck, you can car top it, and it's going to do pretty much everything. Number 6. So number 6 is another one that I personally own. It's a new kayak, so it's the first I would call newer kayak on the list here. And I'm talking about the Bonafide RVR 119. So Bonafide came out with this kayak last year in 2023, and in my opinion, this is the best bang for your buck, the best river fishing kayak on the market. So it really kind of pairs nicely with the Crescent Shoaly, but really what you get out of the Bonafide, you get a lot more bang for your buck, and that's why I've got this one on the list. So you can motorize it, you can do the power pole on it, you can, you have integrated anchor systems for it, you have the tubing that runs through the hull. Anchor Wizard sells a kit specifically for this kayak with the 6-pound anchor. This is a great, I wouldn't quite call it a throw and go kayak at 85 pounds, so it is a little bit heavy, but you do have that drop down skeg. That's a running theme for me on this because that, in my opinion, gives you 2 different kayaks in one. So if you're in some, moving water, if you're going over some shoals, you want to spin that kayak around really quickly. It's kind of like a whitewater design. That skeg in the up position, you're going to have a lot less resistance moving through the water. And if you're wanting to track really nicely, whether you're going over some open water or you're going up current, having that skeg down is really going to help that straight line paddle performance. Plus you get really superior secondary stability that Bonafide does on really all of their kayak platforms. But in a river fishing kayak, it really allows you to lean into those turns. And there's a lot of people out there that have really, really enjoyed this kayak and what it brings to the table. So that's definitely on my list here at number 6. Okay, so now we're getting into that upper tier here. So number 5, in my opinion, is the Oldtown Predator series. So the Predator series, again, kind of birthed a lot of different kayaks, even within the Oldtown lineup. So the Predator, again, started out as the Predator. Now it's kind of morphed into the Big Water series. So the Big Water 132, it's morphed into the PDL series and now the ePDL, which is their newest lineup. And it's on that Big Water platform, which originally started, again, as that Predator series. Thin, streamlined design, really good paddling kayak, really comfortable seat. Again, that's kind of the theme with me if you're fishing or you're just recreational floating. It is a little on the heavy side, obviously, but it is 13 foot long, which is the size of a lot of your tandem setups. But what you get out of this is you get a really good paddle performance, which in my opinion gives you a better pedal performance and a better motorized performance. But again, the Predator series started it all, and that's why it's on number 5. So number 4, and this really kind of goes into a legacy department, and I'm talking about 2 kayaks that really kind of are in that same space and from the same company, and I'm talking about Wilderness Systems Tarpon series and their Ride series. So they no longer make the Ride series, and they've made some changes to the Tarpons over the years, but the old school Tarpons, namely the 100 and the 100, the 12, and the 16. The 16 footer was really used a lot. People fishing the flats, redfish, all of that. That 160 would punch through the surf. It paddles extremely fast, and with a rudder on it, it's really a great touring / fishing kayak. The Tarpon series specifically is designed in a fishing platform, but it's also really recreational friendly, and it's one of the best-selling recreational kayaks on the market. The Tarpon today sells at a 10.5-foot version, so they widened it and lengthened it just a little bit, and it's only 55 pounds at the 105 series. So it's a lightweight kayak, it's a very comfortable seat, a lot of features into it, in addition to the bow storage and the rear tank well, and they sell a lot of accessories if you want to fish or if you just want to float in it. Now the Ride series was kind of, in my opinion, the Tarpon HD, if you will. It had a 500-pound capacity. They sold it in an 11.5-foot version and a 13.5-foot version. But what you got out of that kayak is you got that same seat from the Tarpon series, and then they later kind of graduated into the Air Pro Max seat. So this was the frame seat that they still run on the Radar, which the Radar is what took over the Ride. They just kind of built up some more features into it. Now the Ride 115 was my first fishing kayak, and it was a little heavy. Again, it's at 80 plus pounds, but you got a heavy weight capacity. So big guys like me really like that. It allows us to carry a lot of gear with us, stable, really good paddle performance, and one of my favorite kayaks, and really something I would like to see them bring back. I doubt they will because of the Radar series, but the Radar series, in my opinion, just really hasn't taken hold like they thought it would. The Ride series was something that you still see floating around, you still see on for sale in the used market, and it's one of those kayaks that I just wish I would never have gotten rid of. Number three here is one of the kayaks that, in my opinion, really started the river fishing trend in kayaks. So not to say that nobody's ever fished from a river kayak before, but this one here really kind of built a lot of features into the kayak. They really kind of got, in my opinion, a lot more people into the kayak river fishing scene. And I'm talking about the Jackson Cusa, the original Cusa. Again, around 65 pounds. It was about $1,300 when they discontinued it back in 2021. But the Jackson Cusa was one of those kayaks that was lightweight, it was comfortable, it could handle some moving water, it was great to fish off of, so you had some really good storage options there, and really kind of set the tone, in my opinion, for a lot of really nice kayaks, namely the Cusa HD, the Cusa X now, which is today's version of it, and then also, obviously you got the New Canoe Flint, you got the Crescent Shoaly, and obviously the Bonafide RVR, but you really showed a lot of people the importance of a good river fishing kayak. So again, my pick at number 3, the Jackson Cusa. All right, well, so we're getting down to it. So number two is the New Canoe Classic 12. This is a little bit of an older kayak, but the Classic 12, when you look at it, you can really see the birthplace of two of the most popular kayaks that they've ever sold, namely the Frontier series and now the New Canoe Unlimited series. They all come from that Classic 12 design. A lot of things obviously have been improved over the years, but the Classic 12, when it first came out, was really ahead of its time. It was a big, wide, stable fishing kayak that really kind of got people looking at standing up from kayaks, maybe beginner friendly from standing up and fishing on kayaks. Really great design. Now they've got the swivel seats on them, they got gear track, good drainage, you can motorize them, you can put a pedal drive on them. But the New Canoe Classic 12, in my opinion, started it all, and really you can see a lot of kayaks from a lot of other manufacturers have designs in place that came from that original Classic 12. So that's one of my favorites, and really just for what it started in the industry for what you see today. And number 1, and really you can say number 1A, 1B, but I'm talking about, and it's the modern kayak, it's the most modern paddling kayak out there, and I'm talking about the Bonafide PWR 129. So I've been it's the kayak that I'm in this year, and I've just absolutely loved it. So you can kind of consider it a culmination of maybe some lessons learned from other kayaks, some features that really kind of hit the mark, and everything is on this kayak, from motor mounts on the bow and stern, good battery placement, nice customized options with the wiring access plate, so you're not drilling into your kayak, a lot like the New Canoe setups are. And then you've got your front hatch storage, you've got a really nice, comfortable captain's chair that goes high and low, foot controlled steering, and really just one of the best paddle kayaks on the market that you can grow incrementally. You don't have to buy a pedal drive hull, or you don't have to buy the motor already on it. You can build it as you go. This kayak, in my opinion, is going to grow with the market. So as you get more and more features on the market, it's going to be able to integrate into this kayak hull seamlessly. And that's one of the reasons I think, as of this year, it's one of the best kayaks ever made. Doesn't mean that it's the best kayak for everybody out there. So again, take that. It's the best kayak for me and people like me that like to fish a lot, that like to motor around, or just paddle, you know, have a kayak that's just not a total slug in the water. And that's what you get with the PWR 129. Okay, so now I'm going to go over my honorable mentions. So honorable mention, just some things that might have been just on the outside looking in, or they may have been very, very similar to a kayak that may have been the design before it and kind of birthed this specific kayak. So my first honorable mention, I'm going to do 3 of them here just real quick, is going to be the Perception Outlaw. The Perception Outlaw, again, when it first came out, it was cheap. It was around $6.99, very, very stable, extremely high seating position, and it's kind of really birthed the tri-hull, the catamaran style hull design that you see on a lot of other kayaks today. So this is a great beginner kayak, budget-friendly kayak. The reason being is today, it's still really the same design, but at $930, which is the MSRP for 2024, I feel like it doesn't really give the value or the bang for the buck that you did in years past. The reason being is a lot of competition is around that $999 price point. You get a lot more features, a lot better paddle performance, but if you can find them out there a little bit cheaper priced, find them on sale, or you can even find them on the used market. A lot of people gobble these up and absolutely love these kayaks. So again, it bears mentioning. It's not the top 10 best ever made, but it bears a honorable mention because so many people absolutely love these kayaks. The next one I'm going to talk about, and this may be an unpopular opinion, but is the Crescent Shoalie. So the Crescent Shoalie is a phenomenal river fishing kayak. I like the Bonafide RVR a little bit better, and especially at that price point that they're both at, around that $16.99 price area, you get a little bit better value maybe with the RVR. But if you like something a little bit simpler, a little bit, you know, again, speedy, the Crescent Shoalie is an amazing platform for that. Definitely up there as far as one of the best river kayaks ever made. I like the Cusa and I like the RVR personally a little bit better, but some of you may prefer the Shoalie as well. And last but not least, another one from Perception, and if it's really what I would steer someone to if they're looking for rivers and creeks versus lake, steer them away from the Outlaw. It's the Pescador Pro Series. So the Pro Series is a 10 and a 12-foot model. Great, it's the same frame seat that you see on the Perception Outlaw, just in a little bit more of a paddle-friendly platform. And again, at $920 for this year, it may not give you the same bang for your buck that you had in years past. Also, the Pescador series with Perception is basically the same hull design as the previous versions of the Wilderness Systems Tarpon series. So it's a proven hull design. Great seating position on it. You know, you have some fishing features on there, and again, you see them all over the place. People have been using that kayak for years. All right, everybody, so that's my top 10 list. That's my personal top 10 list. These are kayaks that I personally like. Of all the ones that I have paddled around, these are the ones that really stick out to me, better, albeit for value or for what they created in years future there. So a lot of these kayaks may not be the best bang for your buck today, but they really birthed, in my opinion, some of the greatest kayaks here. So that's why I kind of kicked it old school a little bit on some of these, namely like the new Canoe Classic 12. Obviously the Unlimited's a better kayak, but the Unlimited may not be here if it wasn't for that Classic, so that's why it's on the list. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know your top 10 list. Start a conversation down in the comments talking about maybe something that was left out or something that people should really look at. And again, I'm talking about the top 10 best kayaks ever made with the paddle. So again, we'll do a pedal drive version in a future video, but for today I really wanted to get this out to kind of start the discussion on going back to a simpler design and a simpler time when a lot of us first got out on the water. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to check out our live streams on Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. We have live guests on there. Some of them may be pre-recorded depending on their schedule. Don't forget to like and subscribe, liking the video, dropping a comment down below. It really helps the channel, helps us grow, and it helps us reach a much further scope of people there. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. We'll see you on the next one.